All right. Welcome to the part of the show where we do Breeze Beast Theory, where I just talk about one of my favorite animals, and some of any folklore around them and such. So, yeah, please sit back and enjoy the ride, because today we are looking at one of my absolute favorite animals. Let's see. When it comes to the UK, there's not a lot of big predators, right? Like we've talked about actually on this show today when we were talking about the deer predation. Red foxes are the biggest predator in the UK right now. But that's not always been the case. In the past, there were, depending on how far back you go, there were bears. There were bears. There were wolves. And there were lynx, right? But today, the biggest predator is the red fox. But it's not the only predator. There are also martens. There are also the Scottish wildcats. And the Scottish wildcat's almost extinct, right? Because they are so infertile with domestic cats. So domestic cats aren't related directly. They aren't the ancestors of, or their ancestors aren't the European wildcats, including the Scottish wildcat. The Scottish wildcat is a subspecies of European wildcat, Felis sylvestris, a specific species, and the biggest species of wildcat, the biggest species, the biggest clade of Felis, which is the clade that house cats belong into, the genus that house cats are in. Now, house cats descend from African wildcats, Felis libica. You think about Egyptian cats and things like that. Just to give you the kind of a framework for that. But they're very infertile. They're in the same genus, so they're very infertile with European wildcats, including the Scottish wildcat. So, European wildcats in general are in decline. And finding actual pure wildcats today is very rare. They all have some degree of domestic cat ancestry, except for in far reaches of Scotland, where there exists a tiny population of pure Scottish wildcats. And we're trying to save them and bring them back. And I would like to take just a moment to share a video about that effort with you guys today.
Threatened mammal, and in today's video, the Scottish wildcat is the UK's most threatened mammal, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at its past, its present, and now, thanks to some brilliant work, its future here in the UK. Diving into what threatened them in the past, what threatens them now, and how this crucial work is being undertaken to ensure the Highland tiger lives on. My name is Rob and this is Live Curious, and here
and also another reason why I covered this video, I like Rob. Rob's adorable. Yeah, so Highland tiger, that's one of the nicknames for him too. There was a while back I covered the Kellis cat on CrypticCorner, which is kind of a mythical cat, but it's based around this hybrid between these tuxedo cats and Scottish wildcats that goes way back. It's a what they called back then. They would have called it a land race. Right now we would call it maybe a unrecognized breed. An unrecognized wild breed probably is what we would refer to it as, or even a color morph could be referred to as.
Here we create content about rewilding in the UK, so if that's something that you like the sound of, hit like and subscribe.
I am into rewilding. Are you into rewilding?
Do not confuse the Scottish wildcat as a domestic cat gone feral. They are very much their own species. They can be twice the size and way more ferocious. Like seriously, just look at that face. So it was thought that around 10,000 years ago...
Yeah, generally you think of a wildcat as somewhere between the size of a large domestic cat and a bobcat. Somewhere in that range between those two. So they're a little bit smaller than a bobcat. They do fill the same niche as a bobcat. Just UK is small, again, smaller than North America. I think the same relation from the giant red foxes of the UK to the coyotes in North America. Same correlation. Size of the land mass that they exist on is correlated directly to the maximum size of the carnivore, especially when the land mass has been extirpated of all its large herbivores. So there's only the biggest predators would be mesopredators at that point, or mesopredators, depending on how you want to pronounce it. I don't care which way you prefer, meso. Like a large Maine Coon, yes. Actually about the same size as a Maine Coon, right?
After the last ice age, when sea levels rose, a population of European wildcats were isolated to the British Isles. And
there's actually genetic research being done that Maine Coons are descendant from another very large group at the same latitude of Norwegian wildcats that Maine Coons have, because there's the Norwegian forest cat is another giant species of domestic cats that the Maine Coon is believed to be related to. And those forest cats have European wildcat ancestry as well, according to the most recent genetic studies on the cats. I could be wrong about that. Cats are really plastic and really mixed together a lot, so it's hard to track their gene pool. But cats and other domestic animals are also the ones that are being mapped first as we move through mapping the genetics of all the species on the face of the earth. So, yeah.
Subsequently evolved into the Scottish wildcat with its distinct black and brown stripes over its thick, water-resistant coat. And of course, their banded, tufty, blunt-ended tail and piercing eyes. And for the last several thousand years, the wildcat would have roamed much of the UK, which would have looked far different to how we see it now. It would have been far less managed, and there would have been way more trees.
It would have been heavily forested. The UK, up until the medieval period, was heavily forested. It was, or should I say medieval period? Let's say up until the Roman period. It was still more heavily forested during the medieval period than it is now, but I don't think it had, by the Roman period, they had really started to tear those forests down. But the UK, when, like Treebeard used to say about in Lord of the Rings, a squirrel could pass from London to Scotland without touching the ground. There were so many trees, but
But what is left of the depleted population of wildcats can be found in Scotland. And if you're lucky enough to spot one in the wild, you'll not only be struck by the black and brown bands on their fur, but also 3 distinct stripes on either side of their face. And no doubt, if you get close enough, you'd get a display of their teeth. They have long canines, which are designed to be the perfect spine-sized gap for making quick kills.
They're specialized in hunting birds, rodents, and lagomorphs, which are rabbits and hares. So, but they are not above taking down deer. You will wildcats. European wildcats are large enough to take down usually fawns, but yeah.
And the teeth further back in their mouth are crisscrossed. This enables them to rip through and eat raw meat. They are extremely adaptable hunters. This behaviour evolved from the compounding fragmentation and loss of woodland across the UK. Surviving almost exclusively upon meat, eating an array of different prey from all types of small mammals, woodland game birds, lizards, insects and carrion. With some livestock farmers
well, I know my 2 black cats' genetics. Lots of other black cats. I bet they do. I bet they have lots of other colors as well in their gene pool, though. I bet they could produce a lot of, maybe a variety of different tabby patterns, both yellow and gray, maybe. I know that when they have in cats and domestic cats, that gene is like flipped, the black gene is just permanently flipped on, so it's always. It's like a dominant trait to have black fur. I don't think it's true melanism though. I don't think it's true melanism. I think it's what the king cheetahs have? What's that called? Someone look that up for me. I'm being lazy right now because I'm getting to the end of the show and I'm starting to get tired.
There's even saying that they get the odd sheep. They're unafraid of water, being known to swim across rivers in their territories, which can range from anything from 1 to 2 square miles all the way up to 40 square miles. And for the most part, they are solitary, aggressive animals, with the male and females only overlapping territories during the breeding season. And it's during this time that the female may let out a wail to gain the attention of males, but for the most part, they are an extremely quiet species, with kittens even playing in complete silence so not to attach the attention of predators. The mother will care ferociously for her young. They are an extremely unique and independent form.
There used to be this really cool story that I used to read from this groundskeeper about a mother Scottish wildcat attacking its kitten was attacked by a golden eagle, and he kind of like recounted the story in like dramatic fashion. I'd love to get one of my Scottish friends to read it for me, like do a reading of it. That'd be so cool.
Force of nature that is just both fierce and mysterious in equal measure. And when you consider just how nature depleted the UK is, we are extremely lucky to have an animal like the Scottish wildcat. But what's happening? Why are they the most threatened mammal in the UK today? Well, the first and still ongoing threat is habitat loss. Although they're well adapted to multi-habitat territory, the level of fragmentation and urban sprawl meant that by around the late 1880s, the wildcat would have been completely pushed out of England and Wales to the further reaches of Scotland. The increased intensity of hunting during the Victorian era also spelled trouble. However, over the last century, as the world wars and
because they were a threat to bird livestock, mostly chickens and other fowl that people had in English countryside around this time.
their aftermath took the attention of the UK, and as reforestation
And lambs, because lambs, like deer, are on the menu.
programs slowly increased woodland cover, the wildcat's territories marginally increased. And this gave them the ability to disperse and come into contact with the most serious threat which faces the wildcat today, domestic cats. It's actually the inbreeding with domestic cats that threatens the wildcat, because every time a fertile hybrid is produced, which then dilutes the defining traits and characteristics and behaviours of the Scottish wildcat. And this threat from fertile hybrids was first acknowledged as a quite serious issue during the late 1970s and 80s. And then it was research that was conducted throughout the 90s that found just how dire the situation was for the wildcat due to these fertile hybrids. And it concluded that they were on the brink of it.
Which is like the problem with wildcats everywhere. Anything that's in Felis, right, is going to have that same issue. They're going to run into that same problem, that they are infertile with Felis libica, and it allows them to spread Felis. If I had to say any species followed us as closely genetically in the way we spread, it's Felis libica. that really mimics the way that humans spread. I know dogs, but dogs are so weird. Dogs are so weird, unique in the way that their phenotypes are plastic. Cats' phenotypes are not as plastic as a dog's. You can't morph a cat around like you can with dog genes. The closest thing I can think of to a dog in plasticity of its genome is like pigs. Pigs can get really wild and get all kinds of different shapes as well. But yeah, but other than pigs and dogs, I can't think of any other megafauna that's plastic like that. Now you want to get into smaller fauna and hybrids. There's a lot to talk about, but when it comes to megafauna and being plastic with mixing different gene groups and things together, yeah, pigs and dogs are just top notch, just weird.
Extinction. Studies were carried out from 2009-2012 in an area of the Cairngorms where some sightings of some wildcats with distinct markings were made. As you see, one of the biggest distinguishing factors between a true Scottish wildcat and the fertile hybrid are its markings on its fur and its general appearance. Hybrids will generally be smaller, more slender, but also the striped black and brown bands on the body and tail.
There it is. It's a recessive gene mutation that flips on a dominant trait. That's what the melanism is. So thank you, Sumami. It's not quite leucism, but that put me on the right track. Thank you. It's like inverted leucism. as leucism is to albinism, this is to melanism. If you get what I mean, yeah.
Even face, they'll be broken and less distinctive, with hybrids having a pointed tail tip, whereas true wildcats will have a bushy, blunt-tipped tail. And given this, an action plan was put into place by 2013, which united a large group of organizations and experts.
Hold on, I'll read some comments here from my side chat. I see you guys are being the chatty crew today. I grew up with Whoop Dog. He were fluffy. Aw. Leucistic, yeah. That's what put me on the right track, so thank you, sweetie. I tell people that wolf dogs may look like dogs, but don't expect them to act like one. They act more like wolves. So dogs never, that's the funny thing about dogs. They like, the way that we've bred them, their behavioral atavisms. I don't know, atavism, not atavisms, that's the wrong word completely. Neonatic traits, right? That they have infantile traits into adulthood. That they retain basically the child brain of a wolf. Like, they don't ever reach a mental level of maturity that like a wolf will reach adulthood and stop acting like a child, right? A dog will always act like a child. Or I shouldn't say wolves will just stop acting. They'll still get playful from time to time, but they have a serious adult mode too. There are some breeds of dogs that really that lean more into that too. The more wolf-like dogs. I know I had a Shepsky, which is part husky, part German Shepherd, very primitive dog. And she had a very mature adult demeanor a lot of times. Like, she was an adult and had an adult brain, as opposed to our other dog that we have, which was a little lapdog mutt that, very small, kind of highly diluted from the wolf stock to be like a little lapdog. She was a mutt, but like fluffy terrier and spaniel mix or something along those lines. And she was very much a puppy into old age. She's old now. She's 13, and she's still very much a puppy. So dog brains don't seem to grow up. We had a wolf dog, says Mike. He would never go out and bark at someone. He would always sneak up behind them. I wanted both after researching them. There was no, given how my life has gone the last few years, it's a good thing. Yeah, I wouldn't mind having a Maine Coon or a Norwegian mountain cat.
To conduct research and to promote all aspects of land management to be wildcat friendly, as well as capturing domestic stray cats, neutering them, vaccinating them, and then letting them go again, and also to promote proper responsible cat ownership, but also crucially to develop a captive breeding program. And then by 2015, the approach had developed into Scottish Wildcat Action, which continued to gather data and work with local people and to maintain a healthy captive population. But then in 2018, an independent review was carried out by the IUCN into the conservation status of the Scottish Wildcat, and it found that there was no longer a viable population in the wild of wildcats, and it was due to inbreeding with domestic cats.
All diluted, completely diluted the gene pool.
This put captive breeding at the front and centre of the Scottish Wildcat's survival. And over the past few years, a recovery project has been put into place known as Saving Scottish Wildcats. They've constructed an actual centre, a hub, at the Royal Zoological Society in Scotland, dedicated to not only breeding wildcats, but to ensure their training and preparation to be released to the Cairngorms National Park. Saving Wildcats is looking to be our best shot at, well, saving the wildcat. Fundamentally, their work can be split into two broad categories, in situ and ex situ. First, let's look at the ex situ work. Now, this is work that is happening not in the wild. This is the work at the centre and within the enclosures. The team is comprised of vets, keepers, construction members, and special support from Europe. They've got two main areas, a breeding enclosure.
This kitty did not want their picture taken. That's this one's not even awake. This one's giving you the. I'm sure, yeah, Sumami, you get this look probably at least once a week, right? When you annoy one of your floofs. Any cat owner has seen this face. Every cat owner knows this face. It's like when they're sleeping on your clothes and you need to get ready for work. It's the face they give you when you pull your clothes out from underneath them, or the face they give you if you try to walk out the door before filling their bowl up. This is that's a different face. My cats always gave me the weepy face when I try to do that. This is the face that they give you when you like roll them off of something they're laying on when they're sleeping, like when you need it. Like, I need that. And then like they look at you like this, like, the fuck.
Enclosure and a pre-release enclosure. At all times, the welfare of cats is fundamental within these enclosures, ensuring their physical and mental development. A big part of this work is population management, which is all about selecting the right individuals to come to the centre from the wider networks of zoos, centres across the UK, but also, if required, specific individuals can be used from Europe to strengthen genetic viability. And within the release centre, the cats are monitored remotely to ensure that they're having minimal interaction with people before they're released to the wild. And specific tools and methods are being set up to engineer the cat's natural instincts so that when they are released to the wild, they behave in the right way. And now the other side of the work, known as in situ.
Cats really don't need too much redirecting to behave. The cats go right back, even domestic. That's the problem that's caused here. Cats go right back into the domestic cats are, saying it backwards. Cats will go right back into their wild state, just like a single generation after being set loose feral in an environment, right? The hunting instincts are there; they're not gone.
This is all of the work that is going on in the wild in Scotland. And this work also has two main areas. Firstly, working with specific release sites, and then to consider the rest of Scotland under a wider approach. So a potential release site has actually been recognised, but it's still kind of early days. They're still working through so many images from camera traps to get a good understanding of what's using this habitat. And also a huge part of the in situ side is working with the local people, ensuring that domestic cats are responsibly cared for and to explore the general feelings and stories around the wildcat. This social work continues out in the wider part of Scotland where...
That is a big part of the way we can approach this. The Scottish wildcat can be a symbol of national pride for these people, right? That's kind of what they did with the bald eagle in the 60s here in the U.S. because DDT was wiping it out, and people were like, "This is our national bird. We have to do something." And people were like, "Holy shit, that's our national bird. We have to do something." And they actually did something. Nice change of pace, if you ask me. So, yeah, just food for thought on ways to approach this with the locals. I think that they would, and maybe they could set a precedent for Europe that could potentially spread to the U.S. about keeping your damn cats inside. And making sure you spay and neuter them so that they aren't producing feral populations because they're detrimental to the environment. Just, again, food for thought.
Habitat modelling is being applied to find more potential sites of release. And of course, the work continues to capture domestic feral cats.
Oh, it's Loki, Thor, and what's your other cat's name, Mike? Shoot, I can't remember. It's the little one. Loki, Thor, and... yeah, it's not. I know it's not another Norse god. It's not Balder or anything like that, which would have been cool, but you know, they're your cats.
Stray cats. They're captured, they're vaccinated, they're neutered, and then they're released so that, you know, in the future when true Scottish wildcats are released, they're not going to be affected by these hybrids. So this year at Saving Wildcats, 8 kittens were born across 3 different litters, and this was a result of pairing up 16 different wildcats. So there's hope that there's going to be more to follow soon. Droma, a mother to 3 of the kittens, is doing fantastically well, with this video showing the kittens growing in confidence this month. And it's next year, in 2023, that hopefully these cats will be released to Scotland.
Look at him smiling
too. There's still a lot of work
too.
to be done before that point. And you know, with the promise of more kittens on the way soon, this is looking incredible.
I actually got it playing over here on my other screen where I got the live feed coming in, so I'm watching it again.
incredibly promising, so please be sure to check out all the ways that you can get on to ensure the future of this project. So head down in the description of the video to find out all the links and everything on how you can help. You know, who knows, one day Leave Curious might make a trip to the centre.
Mauled, the mauled guy. I could handle a palace kitty for sure. I know they're like nature's grumpy cat, right? We artificially made grumpy cat, but there's a real grumpy cat that exists naturally. All right, so that's the Scottish Wildcat, right? Right? That's awesome. I really again, one of my favorite animals like ever. So please, if you don't know about the conservation efforts and rewilding the Scottish Wildcat into its former range, hopefully over the next couple of decades they're reintroduced across Scotland, and then perhaps in the future they may even find their way back into Wales and England. Who knows what the future could hold? So, yeah. All right. So that was a Breeze Bestiary, Scottish Wildcats. I hope you enjoyed that. Yeah, please remember to be kind, take care, and all that jazz.
Oh, well, looky here. Another bird for me to tear to shreds. Ha, I love these stupid things. Well, let's go get him. You know, it's weird. I keep getting closer, but he's not getting any smaller. Huh, must be an optical illusion. What the hell is that on his face? An axe? Well, no, I wasn't looking at you. I was looking over there. What is that, a squirrel? Yeah, over there. Oh, yeah. Yeah, buddy, no, I wasn't looking at you. Yeah. Go ahead there, eat up. Oh, yeah. No, don't worry. Oh, no, don't mind me. I'm sitting here just shitting on myself.